Alrighty. I think that's all of that awful, awful fondue casserole. We better hurry before he gets back here. Oh, hello, everybody. Sorry, guys. 1 minute. Hello. I am Puppetine. How do you do? And yes, we're back. It's time to call. You know who? The Ghostbusters. And to join me, I have who's that? Who's that? The real Dr. Venkman.
How's it going?
Wait a minute. If you're Venkman, who's behind me?
Alternate universe.
Oh, okay. So you're just like I'm Englantine from another universe. You're Venkman from another universe.
Pretty much.
It's all coming together. I see it now. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me. I just moments ago finished watching the second episode of The Real Ghostbusters.
Yep.
And it's a lot of fun. You know, around that time, I think I might have been getting sewn. You know, you need some surgery every now and again, touching up.
Mm-hmm.
An aging puppet is never a good thing. Why do you think I look like this now? So, what did you think of this episode, Venkman? I know you've watched it before when you were a kid. Revisiting, how did you feel watching it?
Felt great. Watched this again. It was my second or third time watching this within the week. Because, like I said, this is the episode I always remember where we get a ghost villain who basically is able to draw energy, and this is and of course the power gets shut off, and Janine's forced to basically pedal to keep the power running. Otherwise, the containment unit is gonna erupt like a bomb. Oh, and yeah, so I love how they quickly and Egon just sits there while the power we have 50 seconds until the nuclear bomb goes off. He's just counting down 49, 48, 47. Well, the rest of the guys is running around. He's like Ray's like, we need something that they can generate energy. He's like and Ray and Winston go up to the car. We'll get the alternator, and Peter goes outside. He sees this girl on a bike, and he's just kind of like, is he gonna jack her bike? Because they don't really. And then we found out later that he gave her money. He bought the bike off of her. So they take the bike down there. They have Janine bicycle on it, and it keeps the red light from flashing anywhere. It goes back to green, so the power's stable. Meanwhile, they have to go down to the power plant because they figure that's where the ghosts are gonna be.
Yeah.
But before all this, all this even happens, we start off with Ray's fine cooking.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I hate to admit it. Let me get the screen back up. Nope, too big. Well, behind me you can see Slimer. We just fed him. I had to pause reality for a moment. We just gave him bowls of Ray's fondue casserole. And you know what? I think Ray's going to be very happy that it was all eaten. You cannot deny that it was eaten.
Yes. The scene behind you, Ray had just made his famous fondue something. I forget what it's called.
Casserole.
Fondue
casserole.
And it's tangy, it's stretchy, it's just gross. So
I'd rather eat Slimer.
I'd rather eat you. But Slimer seemed to like it, so Slimer dropped the napkin on the table, and Slimer comes up because Slimer's going to steal the food because that's what he does. He is a ghost. He's a gluttony, and that's all he wants to do is keep eating more and more food. So the guys notice it. They're like, you know what? They're like, Slimer, come here, and they just pour all their food in his mouth. That's why his mouth is extended like that. And every time I see that, it's so stupid, so corny. I just smile. I remember as a kid, Slimer he is the Ghostbusters mascot, and he sometimes breaks the show for you as far as the seriousness. He's a comic relief. I'll say it's like, really, Slimer? What are you doing? And other times, like I said, like you're gonna find out is if you watch the series, there are sad moments with Slimer too. Slimer has character growth throughout the series, and that's what I like about this. Even like some of the guys have their own character growth. You see, you'll see flashbacks of their their lives or episodes, or whatever. You learn more about them. So what's great about this show is they actually give a care, even though it's for kids. They care about character growth. It's not just like cash grab. We'll just put it up and they'll make money out of this and it'll be fine. We'll be billions. No, they're like, let's put our actually quality work in this. And Chuck Melvin actually does this. He cares about He knows what's going on. He was with the whole entire like writing crew and up until the very end. Just up to where ABC executives stepped in and said, "This show's too violent. Or we don't like Janine being from Jersey accent." Or so Chuck Mendel was like, "You're changing who she is. She's a sarcastic person like she was in the movie. You're totally changing her. The only thing that's different between this and the movie is that she's hung up on Egon, like in the first movie. And Egon's kind of like, oh. But like I said, getting back to the show, after they give the food, the Slimer, they end up going to get a call. And they have to go down to the department store. Like, I think it's called Stacy's, even though it's supposed to be Macy's. And
Stacy's mom, she's got it going on, I hear.
Alrighty. Getting back to what I was talking about. So they're in like a little department store, and the crowd's like they're freaking out because these are all people that want in the mall. They want to go shopping, but there's ghosts in there and stuff. They're freaking out. So, and they're like, and I love how who was it? Was it what's his name? Oh no, yeah. So Peter goes in first. They're like Ghostbusters. You see the crowd and everything. They go in there, and Slimer's behind him. Because Slimer's like, "Well, I'm going to go on a call with it." Because this is in the very intro of the show. The show, you always see Slimer kissing Janine, and then he runs jump in there. That's where you get this episode. Is where you get that from. Where he's reason why he's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's obsessed with kissing people. He does it throughout the whole entire episode. So
he's goes very with them. Loving.
He goes with them, and I thought it was so cool. Is like he's going in there, and there's this pit bull that was like grung, and the Slimer goes up, and the dog's hair flies off, and he's just freaking out. The dog is just hairless. Just like I said, childish things like that. Like it's just, I still laugh at it. It's a cartoon.
It's fun.
It's fun. If you can't laugh at stuff like this, like you just don't. I'm like, I guess I'm a child at heart, and I prefer to be that way than be a grumpy old doll who just hates everything. That's why I was looking at stuff. That's why I love the shows I love. I love being a nerd. I love nerding out. This is one of my pleasures here. This is Ghostbusters. If you can tell, I have Ghostbusters. So I have a bunch of stuff. I'm a fan. RDV, Real Dr. Figman. So. Anyway, getting back, they're inside the store, which is awesome about this is that the power tools start coming alive because the ghosts go inside the power tools. Here comes the drills, and I love there's the one-liners in this because as we talked in the previous review, we have the voice of Garfield talking, Lenzer Music talking for Peter Venkman, and I even like in Garfield, he's sarcastic in this, and I love it too. He's like, well, he's like, come on, guys, let's test the warranties on these power tools. They start blasting the power tools. The ghosts get out of there, but then they start going into like other appliances. We get vacuums. We get a giant furnace that's dragging Egon into the furnace of the fire going. He's like, hey guys, a little help here. Even Slimer gets sucked up into a vacuum, and once they get all the ghosts to trap all the ghosts, and you see Ray's like, hold on, guys, I got one more, because you see the vacuum going on. It's Slimer in there. And he blasts Slimer. Slimer gets irritated. He's like rubbing his butt. He's got a basically blurred mark.
It's burned. Yeah.
And he's like, Slimer, okay, I'm sorry. He's like, just sticks his tongue out, but so that's how it starts off like that before the power goes out. Puppetine, if you want to talk about anything up so far to this.
Well, yeah, no, it was absolutely, it was definitely fun. So any time that they're going up against Ghost, right now there seems to be a pattern. They have the small fight, and then it all builds up to a big fight towards the end, and I can absolutely understand why. The ghosts that they were fighting that came out of the appliances, the vacuums, furnaces, all that, they all looked like vaguely Slimer shaped. If you noticed, if you watched them come on out, I at one point I saw one that was green, and I was like, "Oh wait, is that Slimer?" And then nope,
they just copied his design, threw it into.
Like, can't blame them. It makes it easier for animation's sake, but I did notice that. But I want you. I'm gonna let you go ahead. Keep moving right along. Push us through. I'm excited to talk about a key moment towards the end.
Okay. Well, okay. So, keeping with the story as far as it, so as the power goes out, one is like Egon's like, "Don't worry, I got a backup generator." He plugs it in. All of a sudden, you see this bright glowing flash going down the power line, comes out of the wall, and travels all the way up into the generator, and the generator becomes like a little dog monster, and it starts chasing Egon, and like pulls the cable out. That's what caused the power go out. As far as for the second time they had to rebuild that thing, the generator, the power, and so it's the whole entire time this episode. At that moment, Janine's pedaling. The whole city's out, power grid out, and they realize the way is like there must be a bigger ghost because we lost power. So these weren't the main ghosts. So they end up driving towards the power plant because they figure that's where it's gonna go. When there's no power, obviously something happens there. So they go there, they drive there, and so they realize they don't have an alternator because they used it for the Act of One. So they end up stopping at the hill against this menacing-looking power plant. It's like it looks like it looks like you're in Soviet Russia. It's like it's got the smokestacks, everything. It's a giant prison like wall and everything and all. It's just menacing looking. If for a kid, it's like, wow, that's creepy. I wouldn't want to go there. And this is so anyway. So they go there, they run out of power, they park in there. The Ghostbusters go out, and all of a sudden we get Killer Watts. At this point, Killer Watt, and for those who don't know who he is, he's a giant, like a bluish, like a brain, like a cloud, almost like a villain ghost. And he's voiced by none other than Uncle Phil, James Avery. For those who don't know who James Avery, he's Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He also voiced was a voice actor for Shredder in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon that came out later that year in the 80s.
He's also the voice actor for Brer Frog on Splash Mountain, just for the Disney fans.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I said every time I watch this, I always forget that it's Uncle Phil, man. That's like, because you can almost just now once you find out who the voice actor is, you can actually distinguish the voice. You can actually tell it actually is him. So I thought that was really cool. We all, and then we also get another voice actor who's really cool in this show. Who also plays the mayor of New York. He's also one of the drills and all stuff. The voice actor is actually Aaron Kincaid. For those who are fans of the Batman animated series, Killer Croc is what this guy did the voice acting for. So yeah, it's cool to see people coming from this show, or maybe they're starting on this show, doing voice acting, going on to doing other things later in the 90s. So which is this has always been one of my favorite things too. Is like I love the Ghostbusters car Act of One more than anything else. Really, the Act of One is so cool.
Like family.
It's family. yes, it is like family. Because what happens is that they were out of power, so they're like, hey, and Egon's like, well, raise the spectrometer thing. Well, maybe we can draw power from this because it's an energy being, a ghost. So he's like, well, the problem is when they do this, the power goes into the car and the car becomes possessed, and it starts chasing the Ghostbusters. This
car looks so like It's almost hokey in a way, but it's covered in eyes and has these teeth. And as it's chasing them, they're always talking about, "Oh no, you can't shoot it. That's family. Ecto-1's family."
So not only can it do this, but even before this, Slimer, who'd have been in the car, released the brake and he rolled the car down the hill, and the guys were on the hood. You had Venkman had to climb up, and he crawled through the top hatch. And he had to finally hit the brake, otherwise, because they were getting ready to smack right into the building. So it was like you get a high intense moment just like that. You're like freaking out as a kid. I was like 5 years old, probably.
Wait, you did that?
Not in this version, no.
Oh, okay. I just had to be sure.
No. This.
I would have been very impressed.
No. That I don't let the Spud do that at all.
Oh, okay. You're past that.
So, but I gotta say this though, this is building up my case about Slimer. Slimer is becoming troublesome. You know,
a nuisance.
It is a nuisance. Now he's slime everything. He causes a mess. You know, it's just the point where it's like, do I really want him around? Probably not. But you know, he's family. What are you gonna do? I gotta get rid of him. If I get rid of him, I have to get rid of Ray. So
there's more.
Yes. So. After this, yes, this is where we're now. Now they're going into the power plant, and Mr. Puppetine, I think you wanted to talk about this. It was coming up.
Well, honestly, the car chase was the most exciting thing, but this Kilowatt, this mega electrifying threat, honestly felt more of a threat than the last big villain hiding in a hole.
Turok.
He takes possession of this almost like a squid-like thing that's made obviously out of wires and stuff because electricity is his game. So Venkman tries blasting him, and it goes right into this little mouthpiece that it has.
And he feeds off it.
He feeds off of it because it's obviously electrifying them, and he feeds off of electricity.
But you skipped a part, though. You skipped the whole entire fun part of this. Is they get two little quip liners in there because they always give Venkman the best lines. I mean, his first billing, I guess. And it should be. When they're sliding. They're basically the Ghostbusters are being herded like cattle for this, you know, because this is a smarter ghost and all stuff. He's like, you know, I can do what I want. They end up being split up. Winston and Peter are sliding down like there's like a tube thing, almost got red pipes going down, and they're sliding down, and I love the little quips you get here from like as they're sliding down, and he's like he's like, Mama, I don't want to be on this ride anymore. I want to get off this ride like right now. And then as they get to the end, and they get out the pipes around on their account, he's put his hands on the ground. He's trying to stop himself. He slides off. And I was trying to remember. Winston caught him. It's like you know. What did he say? He said something like "I got you" or something. Or no, it's like you know, and like it's like you better or something like that. It's like
I got you. You better have me. And yes,
he's hanging out. He's hanging there, and then here comes Ray and Egon in like a little like a scoop thing, like a crane thing. It drops on top of the guy. So just as Winston pulls Peter back up onto the back of the landing, the guys fall on Peter. So Peter's always getting. So poor guy. But yeah, then he goes and he starts blasting them, and Ray's like, "No," basically, because it's like he's absorbing him. The power is actually keeping him normal. Keeping the positron from the proton packs doesn't even affect them, you know.
So they know what they need to do. They need to shut off the power to get him out. And so they're about to rush over, and Kilowatt looks down. Don't go near that. And shoots a ray that basically splits the ground between them. But Slimer is able to get to this plug, grab it, and pull. So while Slimer is a nuisance, he is also the one who helps save the day whenever he pulls that and it frees Killer Watt from his housing, I suppose.
But you remember though, before Slimer even did this, he's got all that power from the generator sucking up. All of a sudden, the building starts transforming into another monster demon. As he's taking over the actual building itself. It's raising up out of the ground. It's got teeth and everything out. It's like this is freaky. Now imagine the live action version of this.
Oh yeah.
Like we thought Gozer was like, the badass, in the first movie, but she was only like I guess he or she, whatever, was only a level 7. So, and we find out like in the previous episode, the first episode of this, that Ghost was actually a class level 10, stronger than Gozer. So so it's like I love about this is it's like, yeah, it is like people are like, whoa, I love the movie, but like this takes the movie and expands on it, and allows them to do what they want. Dan Aykroyd was happy with this. Same was Harold Ramis. They sat in on this show, looking over it.
The threat level is amped up. Absolutely.
The music, though,
at the same time,
it's great too.
Oh yes. When I'm trying to remember exactly the scene as they're fighting the ghosts, you hear this music is very 80s.
Yes,
absolutely. I was sitting down listening, and I was like, oh, I think Venkman was geeking out over it because it fits with it. So it fits the tone so perfectly.
Yep. I'm trying to look up the names. I think it was a really real.
Well, we have some comments. I'm going to go ahead and read Maranya. Hello. Stop with the multiverses. This isn't WandaVision. No, this is Puppet Vision. Hi. We have LK. This cartoon was right in my wheelhouse. I was 14 watching this, freaking out. This was scary. We have Maranya again saying they have to keep Slimer around if Ray cooks. Otherwise, everyone will get sick from it. That's a fair point.
That's how they avoid death.
Killer Watt is a good punny name for kilowatt.
Yeah.
A measure of electrical energy. LK says Slimer was the occasional translator too. And he says that it was through this cartoon that he learned about Lovecraftian eldritch horrors. Well, we should invite Dalton.
Yeah, the song was called "Charge You Up" by the Tahiti Sisters, and and this is cool in the 80s. They're like these girls are like probably like 16, 17, 15. As I look at if you look at the photo of them actually another, they didn't do anything else. They only did the Ghostbusters soundtrack. As far as that's what they're known for. And I like I said, I being a fan of the 80s, the fact that this was made in the 80s. In fact, this was actually they recorded this in back in 1986. This episode. So it was kind of so they basically were still going with the 80s in there, and it really helps out the music. There's like I said, I'm surprised these girls did not go on to be like a big pop sensation. We have Debbie Gibson and all that stuff, but I was like, they got some sick beats, man. The
music you're grooving along because it just fits. It fits that tone of the original song.
It's action music.
Yeah.
So
overall, I really did enjoy this episode.
So you know who didn't? Do you know who didn't enjoy this episode? Because while the Ghostbusters were having a parade with the mayor and everything, guess what Ray remembered?
Oh. Janine. He remembers Janine and asks, "You don't think she's nah?" And then we cut back to the station house, and there on the bike, Janine is still going. Keep going, Janine. Keep going. Oh, when I get my hands on them, and that's the end.
Yeah,
and that's it was
like,
funny.
She's like, I'm gonna kill those guys. I'm gonna get my hands on them. I'm thinking, man, she's really in shape to keep that pedaling going because you know how hard it is to try and pedal and everything. Because was it on Breaking Bad? They had to charge the battery, and they sit there and keep cranking. And obviously, she's pedaling it, so it might be a little easier to pedal than it is to crank. But you still get tired though.
Oh yeah, if I had legs, it would really hurt me.
I guess you're saying you're glad that you're handicapped.
Yes, it really does help out.
Yeah. So when I was gonna say when you disagree with me, you have no leg to stand on, none whatsoever.
That is true. I'm all arms. I have to skip leg day every day. It's just all right here.
You should never skip leg day, bro. Never.
That's why they fell off.
Same with your right arm.
No, it's still there.
It just doesn't move.
I just don't move it around a lot. It has to rest. It has other work that it has to do later.
I don't want to know about that.
No, you don't.
I don't.
All right. Well, I think we all know what Bankman feels about this show, and I can absolutely understand it. I'm glad that we're going over it together. We will be back next week for the next episode.
Questions though for people in the chat. Does anybody have any questions at all about this show at all? I know LK, it seems like you watched it, and so did Maranya. Anybody else who's watching other than just me and then you two people? Yeah, I'm. If anybody ever wants to jump on with us and talk about this too, we don't mind that too. It's like this is like I said, the more the merrier. We don't mind. Well, it's one of those cartoons. This is from, like I said, LKC is 14 when this was on. I was probably about I was 1 year old when this aired in '86, but I watched repeats all the time growing up when I started. So by the time '89 came out, I was 4 years old, and I was watching all this stuff, and oh wow! I said this is my big thing. Some people are like, "Oh, I like Transformers." I was a Ghostbusters person. I could care less about GI Joe and the old Voltron, Thundercats, all stuff. This was awesome. This was science fiction. This was going against ghosts. Nobody else was doing this.
Groovy.
No one else was doing this, and that's what made the movie so great too. Because you didn't see anything like this. You saw Exorcist or something, but you never saw anybody taking on the ghosts, defeating the ghosts, and this the whole comedy too of it. Want to know why they made Egon blonde? I believe it because they didn't want to they wanted to separate the likeness between the real Ghostbusters and the actual Ghostbusters, so there wouldn't be confusion as that. But they pretty much kept, and they also gave Egon a little bit more of a personality. Like I said, as you get through this series, you learn more about each character, and some that's backgrounds. You learn a lot of stuff about them. There's a lot of character growth.
At one point, they're talking to him, and it says, "Egon, you're a genius," and he looks at him and says, "I know." He absolutely has that. He knows that he is. He knows what he is.
He's a little bit arrogant. Like people said, you got Bankman is the mouth of the South. Just London.
Yes, you are.
Well, I'm from the North. I could be. I'm not the South, but anyway. But like I said, each character, each Ghostbuster in the show, they all have their own specific talents, what they're able to do. Yep. Obviously, Winston always drives. People are like, why is Winston always driving? I'm like, some people are like, well, that's racist because they associate with driving Miss Daisy. Why is the black guy have to chauffeur them around top? If anything, the car was actually Winston's passion. He loved driving the car. So it wasn't really, it had nothing to do with skin color and all that stuff. That was his thing. He's a hobby of that. Ray was kind of a dope in this, but he at least knew some mechanical stuff, how to work out things. He figured out solutions. There's times where Egon would be scared out of his mind. He's beyond rational thought. He's like, I don't know what to do. He'd be like, run!
Just like when he was standing there counting down. And he's like, oh, well, we're all going to die here in a minute. Not to be dramatic, but we're all dead in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. No, it's definitely enjoyable, and each of these characters do have their own qualities that are just really fun to watch, and I look
Yes.
forward to it. In the description of this video, you will find that there is a link to the episode, so you can watch it yourself. After you do, why don't you come back over? Let us know what you think. Go ahead and leave a like, and make sure that you're subscribed. We want you around for more, and we're going to be giving you more. So, for Venkman, for myself, I want to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
You know why?